I know some of you have already had your kids go back to school, or maybe you're going back to school. Where I live, that's just about to happen. So I'm kind of getting in the mood. I've got a little lady going into the 2nd grade, and my head has been all in on what is needed around the house for back to school so that we can have an efficient and smooth transition into the school year. Now, contrast that with my best friend who's actually a year younger than me, but her son is starting university this year, and she just had to get him ready for his first foray out into the world on his own, living in a dorm. So in this video, I'm gonna cover off everything that's necessary for an efficient back-to-school transition, whether you're in grade school or in post-secondary. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to the Clean My Space channel and give this video a thumbs up if back to school is the most wonderful time of the year for you. Well, you need to do laundry essentially 365 days a year, so if you have kids that are at home, nothing's new for you. But if you're sending someone out into the world on their own for the first time, aka they'll be living on campus, they're gonna need a good laundry setup. We wanna make it easy for them. We want it to flow. We want them to wash their clothes, but we also wanna make sure that it's not stressing them out and that if they have a laundry issue, they can deal with it quickly. So first up, let's talk about detergent. So for someone who's never done laundry before, get them this detergent. This is Tide OxiMax in Canada and Tide OxiBoost in the US. It's the same thing, but it is their top performing laundry detergent. And the reason why I'm recommending this one in particular is because, first of all, it's a power pod, which means it's large. So what are kids doing when they go to school? They're not doing laundry every 3 days. They're doing laundry like maybe every 3 weeks. Kidding. But you know, you have to pay for every load of laundry. So they're gonna be doing larger loads. These can handle larger loads. That's why they're great. But also they have stain and odor fighting capabilities that are top tier for Tide. So when they wash their clothes, they're actually gonna have super clean clothes when they're done. Now, I don't know how many students are actually gonna be thinking about stains, but if there's a garment that they really love, you're not gonna be there to take care of it anymore, and they're gonna have to sort it out themselves. So send them with a bottle of Puracy. This is my favorite stain remover. I have been using it for years. I have literally converted everyone in my orbit to using this, and they are all absolutely delighted with it. So get your kid hooked on Puracy stain remover nice and young, and it'll be a lifelong habit, but a good one. Now these are pretty convenient to store, but they're also convenient to use. These are pop-up laundry hampers. And of course, this is gonna clownishly punch me in the face. I'm just waiting for that to happen. But what's amazing about this, of course, is how compact and easy it is to set up and tote around, but then also the fact that it is mesh, so dirty clothes can air out and breathe so that you're not having just a stinky load of clothing sitting in a laundry bag. It has carry handles, so it's really easy for them to take from point A to point B. And it's also got a pocket where they can throw detergent, stain remover, a laptop, whatever they need, you know, they can tote it around. Now, I like the fact that this one comes in a 2-pack. Not only can they use it as a little party trick, but they can also separate their loads of laundry. So they can have, again, life lessons, darks and colors, say, and then lights and whites in here, right? And then that way they have 2 things going, they don't have to spend time sorting. Now, because absolutely no one is ironing on campus, your student might be interested in a handheld steamer. Let's say they have a presentation or a date, or they decide, hey, it just doesn't look good to pick up a crumpled item from the floor and put it on. I kind of look like a hobo. This might be a great thing for them. Now, this isn't gonna fly for everyone. Not all kids care about this stuff, but if your kid does, this is a great one. I've had this steamer for about 3 years now. I've actually replaced other steamers with this. It's super powerful and super compact. My daughter has a strong passion for Band-Aids. I don't know why, but it's a cool thing for her. Anytime she's hurt, she likes a Band-Aid. So I very generously agree, and it's no problem. But if you're sending your child away to school for the first time, get them a nice box of Band-Aids. Trust me, they will thank you later. Same thing goes for hand sanitizer. And listen, hand sanitizer comes in all forms, all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all scents. This one I really like. This is by Attitude, and it's got ethyl alcohol and a nice lemon scent that comes in a whole bunch of different scents. So for me, I find like your traditional Purells like a little too drying. I find the gel texture like really yucky. So I find this is sort of a more elevated experience for hand sanitizer. I also think these are really cute. They remind me of my grandmother because she used to carry them in her purse. But these are very handy for students just to chuck into their school bag, you know, whether they're heading to the library or to class. It's just, you know, it's an awkward moment when you need a Kleenex, and if you have a small one of these, you're good to go. It's nice and easy. Now for the kids that are going away to live on campus, over the door hooks, you can't go wrong. You can't have enough of these. I mean, you should have as many of these as your door can handle, because you are going to need to hang as many things as humanly possible over that door, whether it's a towel, a rope, a jacket, a purse, a backpack. Trust me, the more, the better. These ones are really great. They're nice and sturdy, and I like that they've got the double hook on them. And then this is a mesh shower caddy. I actually got this for my daughter to go to overnight camp this year. When I used to be a camper, we had these plastic buckets, but I think the mesh ones are even better because you can throw these into the machine. They're light, they're easy to carry, they sort of collapse up when you don't need them. And what kids can do is stock it full of their their bath products when they're on their way to the bathroom, carried around, toothbrush, toothpaste, hairbrush. It also has tons of pockets on the outside in different sizes. So, you know, great for toothbrush, toothpaste, razor, whatever you need. And then when you get back to your room, you can unpack this and hang it to drip dry, or you can just leave it stocked permanently. But these are very convenient, and all kids who are moving away to live on campus or to go away to school, they're gonna need something like this. All right, next let's talk about how to get sort of the most out of the desk and personal space, the very little personal space that your student might have. Again, if they're living on campus, we know it's roughly the size of a shoebox. And if your student's living at home, there's also a really good chance their bedroom is not spacious and large, and we need to make the most out of the small amount of space that they have, especially if they have a desk in their bedroom. So the first thing that I think makes a lot of sense is a desk organizer. Something like this. You know, you'll find the configuration that makes sense for you. I have, you know, this here. This is great. You can store books or tablets. You can have different sheets of paper, projects, file folders. You can set this up the way that you like. I think some sort of desktop organizer makes sense. If your child, no matter the age, has any device whatsoever, charging that device is going to be of utmost importance to them. So I have a couple of different options here on my own desk that I use that make a lot of sense. So the first one is this charger. This is a tower charger. Over here, it has 3 USB ports, and then it has a USB-C port. It's also got an on-off switch, so it's very easy, you know, just to shut down the entire organization when it's not in use. And then of course, it's got 8 different sockets. I've had this for a couple years now. I really, really like it. So yeah, comes with my top tier recommendation. I also really like this for a desk setup. Now, of course, this is a very Apple specific setup that I have. It's a great charging base for iPhone, Apple Watch, and AirPods, and it just kind of sits off to the side. And I think this is quite useful because you don't need to have multiple chargers. This is just an all-in-one station. I also threw in a pack of highlighters. I freaking love highlighters. I went through a ton of highlighters when I was in school, so don't forget to add some of these to your kids' shopping cart when you're going back to school. Now, I am on an incredibly cool office chair right now. I assembled it. It's really good quality. It's super comfortable, and you can move it around in a whole bunch of different configurations. You can straddle it. You can have this part here at the bottom just completely gone. You can have it off to one side for one leg. It's a great find. So if you're looking to upgrade a chair for your students, have a look at this one. A rolling storage caddy is nothing new. We've seen these time and time and time again. I especially like this one for students who are going away because it's got a nice tabletop. So it gives you that added surface, that added flexibility. You can use this as a nightside table. You can use this as a table to do your hair and makeup. You know, there are so many different things that you can use that particular surface for. And then you've got those 2 storage baskets underneath that you can use for books, school supplies, extra toiletries, whatever the case may be. Your student is gonna get a lot out of them. Okay, when your student is living in a very confined environment, air control and air quality is going to be of utmost importance. I think, first of all, getting a fan or an air purifier, and you don't need to invest in the best, you can just get one that's gonna do the job. I think that's gonna be really important because A, you wanna keep them comfortable, but B, if you can use an air purifier in there, you're really gonna help manage those odors. Another very effective way to manage big odors in small spaces is to use these little packs of activated charcoal. These are super inexpensive and could not be easier to use. You quite literally take them, put them in a corner, and walk away. Whether that's at the bottom of a laundry basket, inside a closet, under the bed, whatever it is, this will just help to freshen the air. Now, whether your student is going away or living at home, there's always gonna be that overflow of clothing, or it never quite seems like they're gonna have enough closet and drawer space to handle all of their stuff. So there are some clever solutions that you can consider. The first one is this accordion hanging shelf. Now, these are very popular. Again, nothing new here, but I think these are such a necessity because you have extra space for socks and t-shirts and leggings and shorts and anything else that you might need. And these are inexpensive, so they're easy to sort of double up on and really maximize that space. The next area that I don't love using for storage, but I think there is a time and a place for it, is under the bed. And I really like this storage solution because it is 4 pieces that you can either use as 2 or as 4. So it's got this extendable base here, and then of course it's got a bottom that pops in, and then it's got this storage bag that comes along with it. So imagine you can use this for sweaters, sweatpants, off-season stuff, right? Then you can put this inside this rolling bin and just roll it under the bed. If you want to double up on the amount of space that you have, use the 2 storage containers that come, the 2 storage bags like this, stack them up, and then open these and use these for something like shoes or books or something else that you're going to need access to regularly that you can easily push and pull out from under the bed. There are a ton of other essentials, let's call them, back to school things that you might want to pick up for your kids. And I do want to cover off some essentials that I think are really fairly priced that I have found online. These are things that are great for students and are affordable. I found these socks online. These are Adidas, or as I'm told in Europe, it's Adidas. So I hope I've satisfied my global requirements here. But what I like about these is that they are cushioned, they are comfortable, and the blend is good. Nothing is worse than wearing a cheap, uncomfortable pair of socks. Ugh, I hate that. So I like that these are so well priced because, let's be honest, socks are something we have to replace fairly regularly, and you might need some new ones for the beginning of the school year. Next up, hoodies. We don't need to spend $90 on hoodies. We can get very cool hoodies online for a very low price. These come in so many different colors. They're really good quality. Everyone knows the HAVES brand. You can find them online and build out a pretty decent wardrobe, so why not? These scrunchies are all the rage. I love them. Satin scrunchies are great because they don't break your hair and they look a little bit elevated. These ones are a really, really good price. Again, that's why I put them there. And then I found 2 pairs of shoes online. I mean, of course, shoes are very specific to the individual. I totally get that. I myself love shoes, but New Balance, everyone talks about New Balance. This is like an amazing pair of New Balance shoes, and they were super reasonable. I also found these, which are for the fashionista, a little bit cooler, a little bit funkier, but also a great price. If your student is getting a new pair of shoes, make sure it's a good one. I think shopping for back to school can feel overwhelming, and you might feel pressured by things that you see online, and I just want you to remember, only get what's necessary and what makes sense for you. Yes, I give you a whole bunch of suggestions today, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what I suggested is going to make sense for your particular situation and your student. Plus, if you have some of this stuff at home already, amazing, use that. And that brings me to this week's comment question, which is, do you have a teacher that was very memorable to you growing up, whether it was for a good reason or a bad reason? Let me know that story in the comments down below. I will never forget the teacher I had in 7th grade who, believe it or not, but believe it, took my desk, tipped it out in front of the entire class, shook out all the contents, and made me clean it up in front of everyone. And she did this just to embarrass me because I was a very messy student, which should come as absolutely no surprise to you. But I found her techniques to be barbaric and unsettling, and if that happened today, I'd probably sue her. If you're thinking about how you're gonna get back into the routine of back to school, I want you to check out this video over here, which is cleaning strategies for busy families that really work. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to the Clean My Space channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.